Daniel, this next pre-show is for you.
Is it?
It looks just like a topic.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even look like a pre-show topic.
I know. But we just have so many topics for the show now. We got to start spilling them out into the pre-show. So, here we are.
I was going to say, I don't know what we're talking about next week, but we're actually just talking about the thing that's in the box over there on your table.
the mystery box.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think that's probably true. But yeah, this topic is the Avata 360 because we talked about that before and we got the chance to use it at an event and I flew it and filmed with it and then you got to edit a little bit of the footage from it.
Did we talk about it whenever I flew it?
No, I don't think we did. That would be interesting to.
So Daniel brought his Avata 360 over and this was my first time. Like, I don't know if I think I've flown a FPV before. Like a little bit, like a whoop or something.
Yeah, like for a few minutes or something.
But this is you have the headset. You can use the weird like hand controller thing, the single hand controller,
motion controller,
Joy-Con, and you can just like look around, and fly. Just it's 360. You just look around,
and fly. That's the whole circle. 360.
It is. It was so disorienting.
Yeah, when I fly it, I have to turn off the head tracking. It's just too much.
You started me off by giving me just traditional, thumb sticks.
Yeah, like a video game controller.
Yeah, a standard drone controller, and with the headset, and flying with the headset and a standard controller, that was trippy.
Really?
After a while, I was just kind of like, man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I like having this thing strapped to my face or not. I think it was better from a being able to see everything standpoint, but you have like no idea what's going on around you.
Yeah, you don't get
can't sight the drone per FAA guidelines.
Yes, exactly.
So and then you gave me the hand stick and with the move your head around thing, and that thing was a lot harder to use than I thought because you kind of have to point and look, and you can't move in a direction without applying throttle. I learned, and it was.
I found it not precise is the issue I had. Like,
yeah,
you could kind of fly around with it, but I didn't feel like I would want to like precisely fly near any kind of obstacle.
It took like a little bit of getting used to, and I could see how it could be very natural once you learned how to use it because you're just kind of pointing and going and looking. But I think you're right. The precision may not necessarily be there compared to traditional sticks.
Yep, I think you're right. There's a third way to control it too that you didn't try, which is using the controller that has a screen built in, so you're not wearing the goggles.
Well, that seems very straightforward.
Yeah. And that's actually what I ended up doing at the event. I was going to use the headset and the traditional controller, but I was getting a weird error on the controller, which I've since looked up, and it seems like I just need to like recalibrate the sticks on the controller or something. So it's probably pretty easy to fix, but that wasn't working in the moment, and so I just used the controller with the screen. And it worked really well. I mean, it's kind of a trade-off. It's like the goggles are way more immersive, and so I think it's easier to focus on the filming. And I mean, I've flown a lot of FPV, so I'm kind of used to it. But and it would be really good in bright sunlight too. If you were on a bright day, you don't have to worry about the screen getting washed out, like it's kind of sealed against your face. But in the situation I was in, it was like almost nighttime. It was like sunset, and I was flying. And it was actually nice using the screen just because I'm at an event with a bunch of people. I can still, look up and see what's around me. Like I can see people, near me and all that stuff. And like, I kind of prefer the situational awareness of not wearing goggles when I'm around a bunch of people. So I don't know. It's nice to have the options though.
So whenever you're flying it, obviously it has a 360 camera on it. Whenever you're flying it with the screen or even with just like the motion controller, you're kind of just looking forward.
Yeah.
And so you have to remind yourself that I'm getting all this in 360.
Yeah.
And then I can like reframe it in post. You did all the reframing and then sent me the footage. I haven't looked at what it's like to reframe that 360 video. I am a little curious. I also don't know if can't you bring 360 footage into Resolve?
I think you can, which I haven't tried.
I'd be curious to try that out and see how it works. But
be cool.
I think the footage you got was good. It has that 360 look where the peripherals are a little distorted. It is a very, very wide angle.
Yeah.
And I think from trying to get like a cinematic footage type look, I don't love this over a traditional drone. But if you're trying to get a dynamic moving shot,
Yeah.
this can be really interesting, and it can you can get footage that maybe you couldn't have gotten
Yeah,
before. So
yeah.
I'm curious, with the flying that you did and then framing the shots afterwards, do you think you would have flown different patterns? Do you think that you would use it differently? Do you think it was the right drone for that shoot?
I think it was a good choice for it. Most of what I did was actually just using the shot straight ahead. I mean, like I said, I've flown a lot of FPV, so I can kind of visualize like what I want to do. And it just turned out, I mean, especially because this was a really quick turnaround video, we weren't going to have like a lot of time to do too much crazy stuff. And so I kind of flew in a way that I knew would make for some good shots without doing a ton of reframing, which helped. When you reframe it, you can change the field of view. So I think you can you can basically punch in a little bit and get less of that fisheye distortion. But if you do that, you're losing resolution as well. So it's kind of a trade-off. I think when I sent you the footage, I think almost all of it was straight ahead. There was one shot at the very end of the video where I flew the drone straight ahead, but then when I reframed, I kind of like panned it to the side so that it looks like the drone is kind of like panning around an object, which is cool. It was nice to be able to do that. And like, yeah, you just kind of have to remind yourself, oh, I don't have to like point the nose of the drone at this thing and fly around it. Like I can just kind of like fly a loop around it and then, reframe it later. But I need to mess with the software more. I do want to try and resolve, like you said. I was using the DJI Studio, I think is the name of the app.
Is it like keyframing? You kind of set your 2 points and like how quick you want it to pan between?
That's how it works. You can set keyframes, and then they have a bunch of like built-in effects if you want to, use that to do interesting things. So you can like set your field of view, you keyframe where you want the footage, and then you can export. And what's nice about it is like if you shoot in D-Log-M, you can export with a Rec 709 looking thing.
Oh, so you can actually deal with D-Log-M using their application?
Yeah. So if you wanted to just export like a normal video, you can. So it seemed fine. We need to mess with it more. We need to play with it more. But one thing I tried with it though was basically kind of what you're saying. Like can you do normal camera drone things with this? And so I tried, kind of flying like over the top, like high altitude.
Like, whoa, Daniel, that's way over the top.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, man, calm down. There's kids down there, bro.
Yes, exactly like that. No, I tried getting like an overhead shot, basically. And that actually worked pretty well. Like you're saying, I mean, there's a little bit of distortion. The quality probably wasn't as good as like a Mavic, but it was pretty good. And then I tried one of the standard shots we do for videos like this where, basically like it's like a zoom in or zoom out shot, from an angle. So like you start like really close to the action and you fly like up and away, or vice versa. You start like far away and kind of like go
like
in.
One of those pre-programmed DJI shots.
Yeah, just like that. I never use the pre-programmed stuff. I do it all myself, but
show off.
I know. But I did that with the Avata 360, and I thought it was just as good as what we would do with a Mavic. So I still feel like these are like drones for different jobs. And if you're going to be doing a lot of like stationary shots, and a lot of like overhead or just like sitting still getting a shot of something, I think a regular DJI camera drone is probably better. But I was a little impressed at how well the Avata 360 was able to kind of like, like step into that role when needed. So it worked out pretty well.
So kind of a matter of if you really just needed one drone and you could see yourself using the Avata stuff, like maybe you would go that route? ?
I think so. It's I guess it's like I like having both. I'm not going to sell my DJI camera drone. But I think for most shoots, I would be happy just bringing one, and the Avata 360 does give you, some things that a regular camera drone can't do. So I think it's maybe like a little more flexible.
From the standpoint of just having a drone that is maybe easier to maneuver around certain spaces, maybe less of a risk to, I don't know, the occupants around it or something, do you think that the Avata falls into that category of like, oh, I'm going to fly this through a a house for
Yeah.
a real estate video.
I mean, you can.
Or do you think
technically
that
can.
that's better a fit for something like the Flip?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both good for that because they both have prop guards, etc. The Flip is lighter. The Flip is under 249 grams. The Avata is not. But I think the Avata is way better for that than something like a Mini 5 Pro or like a Mavic Air 3 or whatever, because it has the prop guard. So I feel like you could do it with either. The Avata may be a little bit better suited to that since it's like FPV style. Like wearing the goggles and stuff, maybe you can see a little better like where you're going. But I don't know. I feel like they're like pretty similar for that. So,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know.
Cool.
I'm impressed with it. Like I think we got to use the 360 capabilities a little bit. And I mean, I thought the footage looked good in the video we used it for. So I was happy with it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I'm just
okay.
I wouldn't buy an Avata for myself after all the experience with it. I think that the kind of things that I'm looking to use for a drone would be better satisfied with something like a Mavic or a Mini. But it was cool to be able to try out the 360. And maybe the 360 is a better overall package than a traditional Avata.
Yeah, I think I would say that because you can lock the camera forward and basically use it like a traditional Avata. So
Right. Not at quite the same resolution, but good enough.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's like another useful tool to have in the toolbox.
That's what we're all about here, Daniel. It's just more tools in the toolbox.
More camera gear. Welcome back to the Camera Gear Podcast. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're here today to talk about the gear, software, and techniques we use to shoot photos and video.
I feel like the episode today has been a long time coming.
It really has. Months, actually.
A little bit of that.
Literally months.
I also think that we could be a little more organized.
Maybe so.
So we'll just see how this goes.
I think we've got a lot of good stuff to talk about, though.
I mean, we're just going to be here a really long time.
Yeah. Buckle up, everybody.
Buckle up. What if we're not here a long time, Daniel? What if we can cover all this in like 20 minutes?
That'd be something.
It would be something.
I don't see it happening.
Do you want to set the stage?
I don't know how to set the stage. Let's start from the beginning. We made a joke on a podcast a while back, months ago, about how Blackmagic listened to this show, and because we said something like, I don't remember what the thing was, but we were like, Blackmagic should do this, and like a week later they did the thing.
Yep.
And
we were like, har, they totally listened to the show.
Yeah, and then they contacted us and we're like, so we heard about the show. It's like, oh no. No, but they're like super cool and welcoming, and we're just like, yeah, if you have any questions, let us know. They asked if we were going to be at NAB this year, and we had not planned on going to NAB, but we were like, we could be at NAB this year.
You know what? Oh.
Yeah, and that's kind of what led to us pursuing the NAB thing, which, as people who listen to the show know, led to a lot of really cool stuff, like a lot of cool experiences.
You're accidentally buying mini cinema lenses?
Yeah, just casually doing that. I bought some magnetic ND filters. We got all kinds of gear going on. But as part of that, we've kind of separately from this been interested, like for our own business, in expanding, getting like a cinema camera, getting into more like serious work, I guess. And when the PYXIS 12K came out, like, as people who listen to the show know, we've been really interested in it, and we've talked, I think, on the show about like we should rent one, we should try one out, that kind of thing. And Blackmagic very generously offered to let us borrow a PYXIS to play with, and so we got to play with one for a few weeks, and now we have tons and tons of thoughts.
Maybe just 1 ton of thoughts.
Just 1 ton, 1 metric ton.
A lot of unconclusive thoughts.
I don't know. I think we have a lot of conclusions.
That's
true. We haven't decided yet whether to buy a camera. Maybe we'll decide today.
We could decide today.
we could buy right now.
No. So we've sent it back, but it was a PYXIS 12K L mount.
Yep.
And they let us borrow the new PYXIS monitor, which came out last year.
Maybe that's right. Because did it come out when the camera came
I
out?
think that it came out with the 12K, but not the 6K.
Okay.
So is just a monitor. It's not
It's not a recorder.
or anything. And so they sent us the monitor. They sent us the EVF kit. So
which is like some rigging accessories.
Yeah, some rigging accessories. We didn't use all of the rigging accessories, but it did come with some pretty nice rods.
Yeah, like carbon fiber rods.
Yeah, like carbon fiber rods with like safeties on the end. Those are pretty cool. Anyway, and then the top handle.
Yeah,
not the
Ursa Cine top handle. Is
right, not the top handle with the EVF to turn it into a camcorder top handle.
Yeah, I wish.
Daniel's like, need that EVF top handle.
Yes.
Need it so bad. Daniel shot outside with the PYXIS one time and was like, can't do it.
Yep.
Need an EVF. Like, it's not that bad, Daniel. He's like, nope. Need it. Oh, boy. The focus peaking. We're not even to that point yet. Anyway. So I think that's the gist of what we had. And then Daniel and I had bought a set, not a full set, but 4 Nisi primes, the Athenas, and a 135, 25, 45, and 85?
I think it's a 40 instead of a 45.
You're right.
That particular lens, you always get the focal length wrong.
Cannot get it correct.
And we got that, and we also got adapters. We have an X2PL and an L2PL.
Correct. So we shot some with the primes. We shot some with the L mounts.
Yep.
We shot some like recap video footage.
Like event footage.
So like event shooting. We made a really stupid video. Don't know if that's ever going to make it onto Patreon or not.
Yep.
I guess TBD.
Yeah. Feel like it should.
It's pretty incredible.
It is.
It's very stupid.
Yes.
I need to finish color grading it to my satisfaction. But,
yep.
And I mean.
And we did a little bit of like, put it on a tripod, shoot some A-roll, like just kind of to see how that felt.
Did a little bit of like, okay, let's compare the quality differences and the K differences and all this sort of thing.
We did do some comparisons against like my S1 II and stuff, So.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we had, what we did, what we shot, and I guess let's talk about the camera itself. Yeah, I guess that's probably a good place to dive in.
Yeah.
You can power it from a Jackery.
Yeah, because when we got it, so the camera uses like BPU batteries, which is kind of like an NPF style thing. We don't have those. It came with a wall power adapter, and we had ordered a BPU to V mount adapter. But when you got the camera, you didn't have that adapter, and so you had to power it from the Jackery.
That is correct. So that is a 2-pin LEMO to an AC adapter, and I believe that LEMO is a 6 to 12 volt DC. I don't know what the correct voltage pull is off of the camera. I didn't actually look up that spec.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I'm writing a note right now. Hold on. Okay. So I ran it off wall power basically, and then you had the adapter. So we do have a BPU to V mount adapter, and we powered it via that.
Yeah,
and that worked out perfect.
Yeah.
And then I also rigged up and powered it via D-tap, like a V-mount D-tap to the 2-pin LEMO.
Yeah.
And that was also very reliable. So we didn't have any sort of power issues as far as like undervolting a battery or whatever, but we really only ran it off of V-mount and off of the wall. So I was really happy with all those solutions.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to slap a battery or just plug it into a LEMO.
It does go through the battery pretty quickly.
Yeah, it sure does. So you ran it for the event shooting. You did a Ninja and the camera off of a 99 watt hour small arc V mount.
Yeah.
And for some of the other stuff that we were shooting, which was just the PYXIS monitor and the camera, was running that off the same battery. And it was like somewhere around a watt a minute without the Ninja, and then with the Ninja, maybe it's like 50% more.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say with the 99 watt hour, I feel like I could probably shoot for an hour, maybe like slightly more.
It was about an hour. So I guess that's more than a watt a minute. It did feel like, okay, I've shot maybe 30 minutes of footage. I'm down to 40% battery or whatever.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna want to have multiple V mounts on hand. if you're doing a long shoot.
Yep, and it's definitely a different shooting experience than something like a mirrorless camera where you're cycling power.
Mm-hmm.
My impression here, it was like you turn it on and you're using the camera.
Yeah.
And when you're done using the camera, you turn it off.
Mm-hmm. It kind of shows you why companies like that Core company that have those magnetic batteries, or if you've seen like the V-mount adapters that have like a little mini battery built in, so basically so you can hot swap or you can add another battery on without powering the device down. Like I can see why those are advantages. Whereas with a mirrorless camera, it's like, why don't you just turn it off and swap batteries?
Having a solution to make the PYXIS compact while also introducing an auxiliary battery would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Because I don't know if there's the like core battery solutions for the BPU mount batteries. I don't know. I don't know if they have something like that.
Yeah.
And then if you're adapting to V mount, it's kind of a bigger solution because now you have the adapter plate and then the V mount on top of it.
Things sticking way out the back.
So it does get a little tricky. I know that like there's a lot of concern about SDI grounding. I know that there's people online who have burned out their SDI ports for these cameras.
Well, how does that happen?
It's like whenever you turn on the camera, if you have an external monitor, things can get weird with how the monitor negotiates its grounding, and it can try to ground through the SDI cable and then burn out your port.
Weird.
And apparently supposedly the correct practice, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the correct practice is to not connect the SDI to your monitor whilst turning on the camera.
That's weird.
And so you just unplug the SDI, turn off the camera.
Yeah.
And then whenever you turn the camera on, then you plug in your SDI. That way you can negotiate the ground properly.
And we did briefly shoot with SDI, so we can talk about that some too. But it was annoying dealing with that.
Was definitely doing that because like this isn't our camera.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, Daniel, careful. I don't know how legit this is a thing, but please do not burn out the ground on this SDI port. Thank you.
Yeah, and it was annoying doing that, like the times you did swap batteries. But the camera also takes like a little bit of time to power on.
It does. It takes about 5 seconds, which
doesn't sound like long, but it's much longer if you're used to like a mirrorless camera. You flip the switch and it's ready.
You flip the switch. There you go. Flip it off. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm very used to save just from using mirrorless cameras. I power cycle these things all the time. I rarely like just leave it on, but for the PYXIS, it was like we're on and we're just on.
Yeah, I was leaving it on until I swapped batteries, basically.
I had wondered. I was trying to get used to turning down the brightness of the side monitor. It was so weird having a side monitor, and especially I'm shooting and I'm not looking at it, but I would use it to do like inputs to change certain settings. But I felt like it was just there on the side. Like
I think it would make way more sense in like a tripod situation when you're doing a film shoot, that kind of thing.
But when I'm running and gunning, it's like it's weird to have that monitor in that position. I just feel like I'm just shining a screen light at everybody all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like a little goofy. That was also the tricky part with the run and gun stuff. And I know I'm like out of order, but we'll talk about. I guess we can talk about buttons and stuff and how you can make that easy. But if I wanted to change like frame rates or resolutions or something, it was like I kind of had to like tilt to the side and do the buttons over here. I know you can like do it on the touch screen for the monitor, like the Blackmagic monitor, but that was a little weird to do. And sometimes if you're holding a 10-pound rig, trying to like position it to then hold it with one hand and put input in with the other hand, not super easy.
Yeah, I agree. And when we were doing the event shooting, you didn't even really have the monitor as an option a lot of the time because we were using the Ninja at that point.
Yeah, I guess that was a big thing as we were shooting with the Ninja, so I had to.
Yeah.
I was wondering why I didn't do it the other way.
That's why.
So that was power. V-mount, not a problem. Uses lots of batteries.
Yeah. And I mean, here's a question. You think if you owned a PYXIS, would you want to get a BPU battery? Because part of me feels like it could be nice to have like one 99 watt hour one for doing event shooting. Get something that's like a little bit lighter, a little bit more compact.
But it goes through so much battery that you would need spares. You would want spares.
That's true.
And everything else in our life is going to take V-mount.
Yeah.
Lights and all this stuff. And man, it's like I don't want to invest in more other
Yeah.
batteries.
I really wish I just had a V mount on the back. The adapter works well, but it's it's like it sticks out more. I don't know.
It's more compact.
Mhm.
I mean, if it's, I can see an argument for this camera just having BPUs and you just get a bunch of BPUs for it and that's it, and you just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you're a small band such as ours and are trying to optimize around how much money you're spending on batteries,
Yeah.
if I can buy a battery that I can use with other camera kits, is more versatile, and I can use it for like lights and stuff. Ooh boy, it's I'd be hard pressed to not
fair.
just adapt it.
No, that is fair.
Yep.
I do wonder if the BPU batteries have DTAP on them though, because if they do, then you could basically use it for lights and all that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yep.
Some of those, whatever those Mojave, whatever lights, Daniel,
I got no idea.
Those Zhiyun
Oh, the Molex.
Molex, those ones can power USB-C
That's true.
up to like 18 whole watts.
Yeah, that is true.
Anyway,
What
did
about,
we have any issues with storage with this thing?
the files are huge,
So it's two CF Express Type B.
which is perfect because we happen to have CF Express Type B from our other
Yeah, I mean, you
cameras.
love CF Express Type B.
I do.
Huge fan.
Favorite card.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't afford them now.
And geez, that was the biggest problem with this is, and all my potential concern with buying a PYXIS is, boy,
Yeah,
storage is so expensive
that
now.
storage. We shot some with the CF. We had times where we had two CF Express Type B cards in the camera. We also used the external SSD option, at least some.
Correct. I didn't have issue with either.
Yeah,
Using the external SSD over USB-C or shooting CF Express, just not a problem. Both of those worked flawlessly. I think that the main concern that I had was just dealing with the interface. And there was one point where I thought I was deleting footage off of a card and I was deleting footage off of the drive. And I had to then go recover that data because
not great.
I was like, oh yeah, no, this is totally fine. Nope, sure wasn't.
Not fine.
Not fine. It's not super intuitive. The other thing is that you can set a default card.
Yeah, like you can say always record to the first, or always record to the second, or always record to the SSD.
And when you power cycle, it goes back.
Well, does it? Because like you can pick in the moment. Like it shows you your three media sources at the bottom on the main interface, and you can say like record to this one. But then separately from that, there's a menu option that's like record like default to 1, 2, or external. I think those are different things.
Right, but maybe there's a setting that I overlooked. But I would say it was defaulting to 1, as the setting is that it's going to default to card 1. And I overrode it to record to the SSD, which would be like slot 2 or 3.
Right.
And then I power cycle the camera. When it comes back on, it returns to default.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think when you overrode it, you didn't change the default. You just changed like the one you'd selected.
Correct.
And
yeah,
I wish it would be nice if they had an option that was like last chosen or something.
That would be nice. And I didn't see that option. Maybe it exists, but it would be nice to just go back to the storage chosen. Because there was a few times where I was surprised that I was recording to the CF Express.
The other interesting thing is when you look at the footage, it's like the playback screen. By default, it shows you things from all of the drives.
Right.
And there is a way to say only show me stuff from one, a specific one of these, but it was kind of hard to find.
Little hard to find. The way that the proxies worked was a little confusing because you can tell it, shoot proxies, don't shoot proxies. Yeah. And so whenever you pull the card into a computer, you see all of your files, and then you see a folder called proxies. But if you are I was frequently shooting just to the SSD and then opening up that SSD in DaVinci Resolve. When I would do that, the proxies weren't visible in DaVinci Resolve.
Weird.
And I would import the RAWs and then generate proxies, and I was just it wasn't clear to me if when I imported the files, if it was bringing the proxies over and using the ones that the camera generated, or if it was building new proxies each time.
I was thinking it had to have been using the ones the camera generated because it seemed like it was suspiciously fast at generating those proxies.
It did seem that way. However, there was also situations where I copied the raw files over and then imported them separately. And then it generated the proxies. Also, really fast to generate proxies.
Interesting. Maybe you can just do that really quickly or something.
Maybe it could be something with how, I mean, it's their format, right? It's Blackmagic Raw.
That's true.
So
That's true.
that part was confusing. I wasn't sure if we were using the camera generated proxies or not.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm shooting on SSD, I want to be able to just plug that puppy straight in.
Right.
So little weird, little confusing.
We did end up using the proxy capabilities with RAW quite a bit, and I'm sure we'll talk about that when we talk about the experience.
We will definitely talk about that. I would say that storage was less of a problem than I thought it was going to be.
I think so too. I mean, even with the RAW, the files are big, but they're not, I mean, I don't know, they're manageable.
They are manageable, and that's not something I was expecting. I mean, sure, if you're going to shoot in 12K at constant bit rate at the the best
like you're
bit rate.
maxing out the
yeah,
camera.
or you're shooting like Q1 or whatever in 12K. Yeah, it's like 12 minutes is going to take up 300 gigs or something.
Yep.
But in shooting in like Q5, which we shot a lot of it in the Q5, which is like the lowest constant quality setting
at like 4K.
At like 4K or 8K, it still looked super duper good.
Yes, it did.
And the file sizes were like fine. It was the equivalent of shooting in maybe like an all intra codec in the highest bit rate on a mirrorless camera, maybe like a little more. And like literally just didn't have an issue.
Yeah, and I love that flexibility because it makes me feel like, okay, great, I can shoot most of my stuff in this, which is already going to look super good. And we're going to talk about our thoughts on the footage, but like it's really good. But then you have all this extra headroom. If we really need 8K or 12K for this shot, we can do that. But it's nice having a good 4K option because if I'm shooting an hour-long interview, I'm not going to want to shoot that in 12K.
Right. I think that a lot of my interpretation in considering whether or not for us to buy a PYXIS 12K was and is related to just dealing with the file sizes. And after working through this and doing the proxy workflow thing, I'm very much less worried about it.
Yeah. It was just not as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Like the computer handled, DaVinci Resolve handles B-RAW like really good.
Yeah.
And it's as easy as working with a compressed codec in a lot of ways.
I thought so. And performance-wise, it was as good.
It really only slowed down if I was trying to do something while it generated proxies.
Yeah.
Once those were generated and uploaded to the cloud, it was like totally fine.
Yeah, for sure.
And I could very much visualize a workflow where you just generate the proxies, you do the whole edit, you finish your color and your final export by plugging in an external drive with the RAWs.
I think so too.
And then for like the project's done, maybe instead of saving 2 terabytes of RAW files, we just do like a H.265 encode, bake in the color, and those are done. And then kill the RAWs at the end of the project. Like maybe that's an acceptable workflow because it wouldn't be any worse than the files that we're dealing with now. And you could even just do it to log, right? Like you take the profile, you just convert it to a good log profile in H.265 that's compressed. And then you haven't even baked in full color and you still have some flexibility if you have to go back and grab those files. That's true. And then just, make them a fifth the size for archiving purposes.
That's true. Maybe it'd be a way to script that or something to where you're not having to manually set stuff up.
Yeah. So it was a matter of, I think that's after working with the files and just dealing with the storage and everything, I think there's a real workflow around it that makes it not impossible.
Yeah.
And even just shooting the event stuff with it, it was like, this is fine.
Yeah. I think so too. The storage prices definitely are a pain. I was feeling really glad that I happened to have bought a 512 gig CF Express last year because that was a great card to use with the camera.
It's now quadrupled in value.
It would cost a fortune now.
Yeah, for sure. So rigging this thing up.
It should be one of the advantages of a camera like this. It's easier to rig than a mirrorless camera.
I think it still needs a cage.
I think so too.
It was a little challenging. I put the top handle on, and the way that the PYXIS top handle, at least the one they sent us, is a really good top handle.
It is a really good top handle. Like really good.
It's a really good top handle. And the way that their interface with the monitor works, it slides in and locks. Great.
Yeah, it's like a quick release type setup.
Just super good.
And the handle's comfortable. It's big. It's just like, hard to imagine a better top handle.
Very, very few to no notes on the top handle, other than when it's mounted. You can't really use any other of the mounting holes on the top of the camera.
Yeah. Well, and another reason that a cage is really helpful is I took the top handle off at one point and tried to mount I tried to mount a cheese plate to the top of it to screw some stuff into it. And the screw spacing on the top of it is like a little weird.
It's a little weird.
The cheese plates I had wouldn't quite line up, and I definitely felt like I'd want a cage for this camera.
I had that problem with the bottom too, because I had to do a cheese plate with a V-mount thing, because you had a V-mount B adapter thing. So I had a bottom cheese plate with a V-mount plate, so I could like rig up the camera and then connect the D-tap Telimo in. And it wasn't very like getting things aligned, and it's probably the cheese plate that I had or whatever. Yeah. I felt a little limited. And then there's not really anything on the side. We were trying to figure out how to mount a side handle.
Yeah.
And what they gave us two separate side plate options, because you can unscrew 4 little screws, take the side of the PYXIS off, not the monitor side, but the other side.
Yeah, the right side.
And they have a lot of different options, or you could even like 3D print something if you wanted to. Yeah. And the ones that we had were just a flat side with a hole to screw into the side of the camera, because there is a quarter 20.
Three-quarter 20s.
3/4 20s on the side. So it just exposes those basically. Or there was the one with the SSD plate. And we ended up putting the SSD plate back on because we couldn't quite figure out a handle solution.
Yeah, just like, I mean, some of this stuff was, we only had this camera for a short time. We weren't really going to buy special rig parts just for a camera that we don't own. And so we were kind of working with what we had. But I mean, you and I both have like tons of rig parts. And it just felt like we couldn't quite get the right thing. So I think a cage would really help with that.
Yeah, I think so too. It would open up some possibilities, give you the option to mount a rosette, which would be really nice, because you have some pretty good like rosette handle solutions. And there's a lot of stuff out there, but I don't even know how you would mount I guess you'd have to have a rosette that like you could screw in or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff about like rosette being like male or female and like how it works. And
so that was just the rigging ability was fine.
Yeah.
Especially for like what we shot with the event, just using the top handle. But all the heat goes straight up the top. And so
it has a bunch of vents on the top.
Boy, does your hand get warm. Let me tell you.
Especially on a hot day, right?
Shoo, boy. So rigging it out, I think I'd want a cage.
Yeah, I agree. Just add a little bit more weight to it.
Yeah, sure. Just need a little more.
Yep.
Just a little more.
Most of our setups were, I think that the heaviest thing I personally used was like 10 pounds, 2 ounces. It was hard to get it under 9 with whatever we did. And it's a heavy setup.
I mean, what's the out of box weight of a PYXIS 12K?
Like just the camera?
Yeah, like just the camera.
Yeah. Because we had the camera, but we also had the top handle. We had the monitor. Like when I said 10 pounds, 2 ounces, that was with a 99 watt hour V mount, with the lens, and then with the Ninja. So that's like a pretty heavy setup. And maybe it was probably like 9 with the PYXIS monitor. So that, a little bit less, but it's a big boy.
Yeah. Well, depends on who you're talking to, right? I am looking on the spec page right now, trying to find the weight of a PYXIS 12K.
It's just it's unknowable.
Literally unknowable. Can't find it. Impossible.
AI says 3.5 pounds.
Stop it. I think it's not 3.5 pounds.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was a little bit heavier than that.
Feels heavier than that. Feels heavier than that.
Maybe it was wimps.
I mean, we literally weighed it, Daniel.
Yeah, we did.
Most rigs are about 9. I mean, the V-mount battery is a pound.
B&H also says 3.5 pounds.
A pound for the battery, a pound for the monitor.
I probably had the 24-70 when I weighed it, which is 2 pounds.
2 pounds for the lens. Okay, sure. Math basically works out.
Yeah.
I did some handheld stuff where with some like wide movements, and this thing doesn't have any stabilization.
Right.
And like it just looks good.
Yeah.
Like having the weight just basically takes the jitters out. And you can use the gyro stabilization where it takes the gyro data from the camera whenever you import it into DaVinci Resolve.
Yep.
Whenever you go to your stabilization, it adds a fourth option. You just say in-camera gyro. You select it, we'll do the stabilization. Very natural looking. I liked it more than the way that like perspective or translation looked. in Resolve. I thought it had like a just kind of a more natural feel to it.
Yeah, but it didn't
And
always work. Sometimes it was a little weird.
sometimes it was a little weird. There was no handheld footage that we shot that I was like, this is unusable. It's just shaking too much.
Yeah.
It had that handheld like cinema look.
Yeah.
And I honestly really like the handheld footage off of this.
I mean, I felt like it looked better than the handheld smoothness wise. It looked better than the handheld footage I get from even a rigged up mirrorless camera.
Right.
For some reason.
It was something that I wasn't necessarily expecting to clock. I thought that like, yeah, it'll be heavy and like maybe the footage will look good. But there was something to say for the naturalistic look of the footage out of something that just legit weighs 10 pounds and is heavy
and doesn't have IBIS.
And it doesn't have any stabilization. And so you are just getting that natural look. And so I was very pleased and very happy with the handheld footage out of this camera, which is not something that I was necessarily expecting. I was thinking that was going to be one of the drawbacks.
Yeah.
And I kind of came away saying, unless I really needed some super slick, smooth stuff, I'd be really happy with this.
Honestly, too, the weight, I mean, it's heavy, but even walking around an event shooting with it, I never felt like I couldn't handle it. Like, it's heavy, but I don't know. I mean, it's like if you have a good rig with a good handle and stuff, like you can do it for long enough to get footage.
Oh, I should have mounted it onto my glide cam.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think I have enough weights to mount it on my glide cam.
Yeah. I mean, that is one advantage of the PYXIS, like especially if you were to you take the V mount off of the camera, power it with like the D-tap to LEMO, take the monitor off, like you can make it a pretty lightweight thing. And I think it is, maybe a little bit easier to put on a gimbal than, some bigger cameras.
Boy, that thing would have been heavy.
Yeah, it would.
That'd have been something else. Woof. Anyway, so rigging, top handle, weight. I think we covered most of that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, it has the locking USBs.
That is nice, especially on like the SSD side of things.
Yeah, like all the ports. Just like you can just like screw in the USB port.
Yeah,
great.
Very good to have.
Never used it, but it was great.
Yeah, because you didn't look under the padding in the package.
Look, I went through the rig stuff and I was like, well, looks like there was no cables. That's weird. Putting it back together to send it back to him. Oh shoot, found the cables. Man.
Well, at least we know they're out there.
Felt like such a dummy.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. Let's talk about interface. We talked about the SDI grounding.
I feel like Blackmagic's like legendary for their camera interfaces,
So like I've worked with Blackmagic camera interfaces before. Like the broadcast stuff we do is Ursa, this, that, and the other. I think that they have a really good interface. I loved it a little less after this experience.
Interesting.
I can't tell you necessarily why. I think it was mostly probably just out of the frustration of trying to find things. And it's like that with every new camera interface.
Yeah.
And so this isn't a Blackmagic problem. This is more of like a Lucas problem.
Right.
I did ultimately find all the things I was looking for. There was just some weirdness. So like for the microphone inputs, you have 4 channels, which is awesome. So cool to have 4 channels, and you can set any channel to anything.
Yeah.
You can be like, I want the left channel to be the top, like on-camera microphone, top right on-camera microphone. I want the right channel, left channel, or whatever. This other channel to be the other on-camera microphone, and then I want the back, mic import to be this, and I want the USB import to be the. Very cool.
Yeah.
Just super nice
That's
to have.
the kind of stuff you expect to see on a cinema camera of like you have all the settings.
You have all the channels. You can set them to anything that you want, and set all their gains independently. Like very, very cool.
Yeah.
The first chunk of things I shot, I had no actual audio input because I didn't know how to set the input on the thing.
Should have read the manual.
Because you go to the menu, and then you have to hit the title bar. Like there's 4 boxes that are arranged in a grid. And each of those boxes has a menu bar on the top of it. You have to tap the menu bar to then select to the correct audio input.
But it is the kind of thing, though, that once you know that it works that way, it's pretty quick to change things.
That was the click for me, where I was like, okay, that was not super intuitive. But now that I know that there are hidden is not the right word.
Like menu bar things are clickable.
Correct. Menu bar things are clickable. I was like, okay, that's how you change a lot of things. And so that's when I learned, I was like, okay, I can hold down on the storage media and that opens me up to one menu versus if I tap on the storage media, it opens me up to a different menu. And okay, if I go to if I'm trying to set monitor settings, I have to make sure that I'm selected on the correct monitor for changing this setting and blah blah blah. And it's so like
what you're describing is why it's good to play with a camera like this before you try and use it for real.
No kidding. It's so like we had the monitor, and the monitor has 3 buttons on it, F1, 2, and 3. And then the camera has buttons on it, F1, 2, and 3. And you can independently set to the front USB port, the rear USB port, or the on camera. Like if you got 2 PYXIS monitors for some reason.
Yeah, or like the monitor and the EVF or whatever.
Yeah, you can independently set what each of those F1, 2, 3 buttons does to each screen.
Yeah.
Or whatever has the input that supports the buttons.
Yeah. Like you can say the F1 button does this everywhere, or the F1 button does this only on this particular screen.
Right. And so that was like weird trying to like switch between the two. And do I want this button to turn false color on for everybody, or do I want this button to turn the false color on for this monitor but not that monitor?
Right.
And
right.
There's just like a lot of options.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you want.
Yeah. Just a little intimidating at first.
Not immediately intuitive for me whenever I was using it.
Yeah.
I was super happy with like if you have all that customization and customizability. No.
Customizability.
Sure, that one. It's really hard to do a good interface to expose all of those things in a way that you can get the simple thing done, but also the complex thing done.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good balance. Like it's a good balance. It's a good interface, but obviously there were some growing pains.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It did freeze on me once.
Yeah, why did that happen? It was like really hot outside.
I don't know if it was the heat. I was 91, 92 degrees outside, and I had hit it to start recording. It recorded 3 seconds and then just locked up.
Interesting.
And I had to cycle power.
Yeah,
and
pretty weird.
It like took a minute and then
Pretty
eventually
weird.
came back. It only happened once in all the shooting we did. We shot hours of footage. And so only happened once. It was running the most recent firmware as I understand it. So I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah.
If it happened like 3 times,
yeah,
I'd be like, there's no way it's broken.
We used it quite a bit, and that was the only time that happened.
Yeah. So, and that was really the only problem I had. We didn't have any other like overheating issues, no shutdown issues, nothing. Just the one lockup.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I would say generally reliable.
I think
not
so too.
Not bulletproof, but overall not a concern for me.
Yeah.
Just something I would monitor.
Monitor. It was neat that if you were using, like we used some of my Lumix L mount lenses, it was cool if it had like a fast exposure and like an auto, like a single point autofocus type button.
Oh yeah. If you're talking about like the interface buttons on the side, there is an iris, a focus, and I think an auto exposure button.
Yeah, I think
that you can
right.
just like press and it will like automatically focus in or set the iris or whatever. So you can make it a little easier to run and gun as far as like grab exposure.
Right.
There wasn't like a quick auto white balance button, but I think that you could probably program that into like one of your F keys.
Maybe so. Yeah.
It does seem like it would be fairly
white balance
easy
is less
to.
important when you're shooting raw.
That's true. Though you can still only kind of push it so much, but it is less important. Like the scroll wheel and the position of the buttons on the side were actually pretty intuitive. Like if you're just holding the camera, I could see myself getting fairly used to knowing like where the snapshot, where the scroll wheel, where the iris and the focus and the record button are with just my left thumb.
Right.
And be able to like work this camera as a single user and find all of those things fairly easily.
Yeah, it does seem like intuitively designed.
I also thought it was nice that they have an HFR button on it. And so if you're shooting in just 4K 30 or whatever, and you want to be able to like jump to those high frame rates, you can set that shortcut button to whatever you want.
That is cool.
And like
a specific frame rate?
In single frame increments.
Oh, wow.
So
that is cool.
And like depending on what you're shooting, you have different options, right? If you're shooting in 12K, you're only going to be able to get up to like, 72 frames per second.
Yeah.
But if you're shooting in 4K, you can get up to like 112 or something. And you literally like go into the menu and for the mode you're in, you say like, okay, for HFR, I want it to be this number. And you just literally scroll up in single number increments.
That's cool.
very cool. And then it's just one button. Like
Yeah.
you're shooting, you hit it, boom, you're shooting in high frame rate, hit it
Mhm.
again, you're back to normal frame rate.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. That's cool.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. No HDMI port on this camera.
No HDMI port. Was that a problem?
It really didn't seem to be. I think it would be a problem if you were trying to use some kind of regular monitor with this, not an SDI monitor, but honestly, the PYXIS monitor is probably the way to go if you want a standard monitor because it's a touchscreen and because it can show the camera menus.
I really liked the PYXIS monitor for this. I thought I was going to walk away from this saying, I'd rather have a Ninja because I can now do H.265 compressed codecs if I want to. But having used this, I'm like, man, if I'm shooting on my PYXIS, why am I not shooting B-RAW?
Yeah.
Because freaking B-RAW is so good.
And the monitor is just really good. Like it interfaces so well with the camera.
The monitor is super good. You can access all the menus. You get the 3 shortcut buttons on the side, which you can set to like record or whatever. And you can independently mess with the menus on the monitor and on the side screen at the same time.
You can be on different menus on the 2 screens.
Yeah, you can be on different menus, making whatever adjustments. And it's just fine.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
That's a cinema camera feature.
And it's nice that it plugs in with just the one USB-C port. You don't have a separate power, just one cable to power it and do video.
It's very well considered, and it's just a really nice implementation.
Yeah.
The little sun shield thing is super good for the monitor. It got bright enough. I know that you had some issues on an exterior shooting on the monitor and trying to nail critical focus.
Yeah, getting the focus. I think it's just hard to get the focus peaking settings right to begin with.
They were a little finicky.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the prime lenses or what.
Yeah.
But as far as like outside in the Texas sun, full sunlight, I didn't really have any monitor brightness issues with the sun shield on for the Blackmagic whatever PYXIS monitor or the side screen. I didn't have any brightness issues.
Yeah,
so
good to know. The sun shield that comes with it's kind of cool too because it kind of locks down. It kind of folds over the screen to protect the screen. That was kind of
it's very cool, and you like open it up and it pops out.
Yeah.
It's very very fun.
Yeah.
It makes it hard to press the sides of the screen.
It does.
I don't know, like whenever you see old people use their phone. Sorry, if I'm describing you right now. Sorry, not sorry.
Is what it is.
Sorry, not sorry. And you they're holding their phone with one hand, and then there's like index fingering at it with the other hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt using the monitor with the sun shield on.
Yes,
because I'm like trying to just press the side, and I'm like shrinking my hand in there, and I'm like, come on, let me brace it with my hand and use my thumb.
If it was at night or inside, I'd probably take the sun shield off, but it's a cool thing to have.
I was frequently taking it off when I was not shooting outside.
Mm-hmm. I like that the monitor has a tally light on it.
That was something I was not expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I was recording and I went around to the other side of the camera, I was like, oh, that's a nice tally light.
Yep.
It's just a subtle red.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice touch.
Yes.
Anyway, no HDMI, not a problem.
I mean, I think it was fine.
It was fine.
I mean, it'd be cool to have one, but it wasn't a deal breaker.
Not a deal breaker. 2 USB-C, no LEMO out.
For what would you use that for? Like power?
Maybe for a focus motor or something.
Yeah, true.
You may be able to power that by USB though.
That's true. Yeah.
And then you could run the monitor out of the other USB or something.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's possible.
Yeah.
Untested. Mm-hmm. We also didn't get to the Ethernet stuff. We wanted to try some of the camera to cloud, and I wanted to try streaming video for this thing.
Yeah.
And we didn't quite get to either of those things.
Yeah, as well as the feature where you can plug your phone into it and have it upload proxies wirelessly. That would have been cool to try.
Would have been cool to try, but definitely didn't get to.
You can only do so much in a limited amount of time.
Yep. Ain't that the truth? Anything else on the interface, Daniel?
I don't think so. I mean, it's good. I think it's intuitive, but like we were saying, it does kind of drive home for me that I would not want to go into a paid shoot having rented a PYXIS that morning and never used one. I would if we weren't to own a camera but we're going to use one and hadn't had this experience, I would want to rent it for 3 days and play with it before that.
Yeah, you definitely want to have that experience of using the camera before you show up on shoot.
Even with something as intuitive as Blackmagic, there's just enough quirks that you kind of need that.
Yeah, definitely. And then you walked away saying if you had a PYXIS, you would want an EVF.
Probably. I mean, just for the outdoor stuff, I do feel like it's a little bit a little bit easier maybe, but it just depends on what you're shooting. I don't know. I mean, the monitor did work very well in most circumstances.
Do you think going full like news broadcaster camcorder mode is the right call?
Oh, it'd be so much fun. The top handle they make for that is really cool because it has an EVF. It's like $900. It has an EVF, function buttons, and a tally light, and a microphone. So like it does all the things.
So much fun.
Yes.
So much fun. Okay, let's talk about the footage.
Cool.
That's like the real money here. That's like the big deal.
Cool. Let's take a break for a moment and then we'll talk about that.
Okay.
If you'd like to support the Camera Gear podcast, you can subscribe to us on Patreon. It's only $3 a month, and you'll get early access to episodes, longer pre-shows, and occasional bonus content like written reviews of gear or maybe some photos we've taken on one of our recent adventures. This really does help us pay the bills and keeps this show running, and we'd love to have your support. You can find out more at patreon.com/cameragearpodcast, or there's also a link in the description for this episode. Thanks for listening, and now back to the show. So I think the big question coming into this was, is the footage actually going to look any better than a mirrorless camera?
And the answer was obviously no.
Well, I mean, I think maybe we would have been a little skeptical, right? Like, what would make it better? You know, how could it be better?
I still can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's that super slick Blackmagic color science, whatever 5.0 or something.
The weird sensor, RGB WW.
RGB WW sensor, the lack of noise reduction. I put very, very little, if not none, noise reduction on the footage that we shot, and I just still looked good.
Yeah.
Just didn't even want it.
Yeah. I think we were both like kind of blown away at how good the footage looked. And it wasn't just the cinema primes, because we also shot with the Lumix lenses, and that also looked
It was just like a little inexplicable that I'm like wandering around just shooting like video of my dogs or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like wife goes outside, check the guard. I'm like, what else am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Fall around with PYXIS camera, obviously. Well, what else I got going on right now? And it's just like, it just looks like a movie.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know if it's like I'm shooting in the film mode, so it's a little flatter. Geez, it just looks really stinking good. It's like, is it the highlight roll off? Is it just the way that's handling the dynamic range? The dynamic range, really good.
Really good.
Like noticeably better than my XH2S, which has pretty good dynamic range for a Super 35, kind of best in class, some might say. Best in class, better than some full frame cameras. Let's talk about the XH2S for a little bit. So
getting distracted here.
There was a few shots where I'm like, okay, it's like bright sunlight. Let me expose the clouds, and then see what it looks like whenever I try to like adjust, like pull up the shadows. And I could make a non-HDR final export shot look functionally good.
Yeah.
Where I'm outside, I'm not blowing out the highlights, and I can pick up shadows like under a tree or something.
Yeah.
And that was impressive.
Yeah, I would say so too.
I did some shots where I'm inside and I'm shooting through the window on purpose
to get that,
get
the extreme dynamic range.
Yep, and I'm shooting in Q5 because storage is really expensive. And if I was shooting in a different Q, I probably could have had a little more flexibility. And I overexposed. I was too far to the right. And boy, when you overexpose the thing, like once you clip, boy, it's a challenge to get that thing recovered.
You're much better underexposing with this camera.
Yeah, it's like even though it's raw, underexposing too far, overexposing too far, you still have to contend with the latitude of the sensor. And shooting in RAW is not a free for all.
Yeah,
which
you do need to try and get the ISO kind of right.
It's like obviously.
Yeah.
But I think my takeaway was I got maybe another like 2 stops over, or maybe like a log profile of flexibility,
which is quite a bit. I don't know.
It is quite a bit. It gives you more latitude. You can change the white balance in post. You can set the ISO and all this sort of stuff. But I thought that maybe I would have even a little more flexibility in RAW than we did.
Okay.
And I don't think that's not something to say about the PYXIS camera. That's something to say about just shooting in RAW and where
it's not perfect.
And that shooting in log gets you a lot farther than I think we give it credit for.
Yeah.
Other than dealing with white balance.
Log gets you most of the way there. RAW gets you a little bit more.
Right.
on top of log.
Log gives you more safety from a color standpoint
Mm-hmm.
and from a noise standpoint. But, no, not from a noise because it's just going to be ISO variance. But log is, from an exposure standpoint, you can maybe kind of contend with the dynamic range. Anyways, neither here nor there. What I learned is that the highlight recovery option in Resolve when paired with B-Raw is good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
A lot of times it could actually recover the highlights.
So I was maybe 3 stops over or something for the sidewalk outside of where I was while trying to expose for the inside. And it was just totally out. And using the highlight recovery, I was able to bring back everything around the sidewalk, which was the hottest part of the image. And then have definition there to see that actually there is something here. It's not just all blown out.
Yeah.
It legit was able to bring a stop back that was unrecoverable.
That is pretty cool.
I was very, very impressed with the highlight recovery capability.
Yeah, that is really cool.
And I thought that I was mostly able to make those images work, even though it was overexposed. But it was shooting in false color. Once something was red, I knew that it was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And boy, Daniel, do I love shooting in false color.
Having false color available on the camera without needing a special monitor for it was really nice.
I haven't really shot a ton in false color before, and shooting in false, oh boy,
yeah,
I always felt like I was a wizard at exposing. Once I flip on false color, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to make this look delicious.
Yep,
and it was true. I did. Yep. And it was all me. It wasn't the camera. Anyway, shot a lot in 12:1, shot a lot in Q5. We did test other compressions, but what we found was that the constant data rate compressions do change based upon what you're shooting in. I think that the 12K was 18:1.
Okay, and that's right. You had different choices based on what resolution you're at.
The 8K was 12:1, and the 4K was 6:1. And then they scale appropriately, down to 1 to 3, things like that.
Yeah.
And so they kind of, depending upon what you're shooting, you add a little more compression, a little less compression. We found that shooting in 12:1 versus shooting in Q5, depending upon how busy your scene is, the difference in 4K 12:1 versus 4K 6:1 versus 4K Q5 was double the footage record times.
Interesting.
Maybe not double, but it was substantial enough that I was okay, so shooting in Q can really save you on data.
Yeah.
Even if you're shooting Q3, not Q5 or Q1. But
and we did shoot a lot on Q5, and that's when we say things look good. A lot of it was Q5.
Yeah, right. A lot of it was Q5. We did do some kind of testing between 12K, 8K, 4K. I still need to go back and kind of spend some time looking at that footage, but the 12K was really good.
Yeah.
And
it did feel like you could crop in pretty well with that footage.
And it just, the way that they're doing this RGBW sensor, WW?
I think it's WW.
Yeah, and how they're doing the binning of those sensor pieces,
like the mosaicing, demosaicing rather.
Yeah. Well, just the fact that you can they're 6x6 grids, and so they can do the 12K, 8K, and 4K all full width. It's just incredible to me that a lot of times with cameras, particularly mirrorless cameras, you go shooting 8K 30 or something, it's gonna overheat, or there's some limit to that quality setting, or you just are running into data rate issues.
Yeah.
And it's on this camera, because of what it is, and because it's a cinema camera, it's built to do this thing. Shooting in 12K and the high quality settings, it's this is what it's built to do.
Yeah.
And I was perfectly content with how most of the stuff we're shooting to just never even shoot in 12K. I'm let me shoot in 8K or let me shoot in 4K. And I have 12K there in my pocket if I need it.
Yeah. And that did feel like the best way to use the camera is not to shoot in 12K all the time. it's tempting to just be let's just max it out. But you just really don't need to most of the time.
You don't need to. And because it's the way that it's doing the binning and not line skip or anything, the 8K and the 4K look really, really good.
Yeah.
And I feel if I was shooting on this camera, I would probably shoot in 8K most of the time. And it's just blows my mind that you're shooting you shoot 8K 60.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah, and it can just handle that.
You just do it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Not that many cameras out there doing that 8K 60 full width.
And it just looks so good. I was really, really impressed. there were 2 ISO ranges on this camera, which is, it's like 100 to 1000 and then 1250 to 6400. And then you can like push it a little bit in post.
Yeah.
We did shoot some low light stuff. We shoot some like outside stuff. We didn't really have any underexposure problems.
I felt like even the low light looked pretty good.
Low light looked pretty good. I did a test where I was shooting a chair and out a window. And after all of our discussion about dynamic range and ISO from a few, like, handful of episodes ago, 10 episodes ago, whatever it was, I was expecting the lower ISOs to have a little more dynamic range. But we also know that, say when you shoot in like log on a camera, it pushes you up to a higher ISO.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised that in looking at false color on the monitor and looking at where the window clips and in changing the exposure, I found that when I changed from like 1250 versus like 300 ISO, I could get way more dynamic range at these higher ISO settings.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like, I know that that's how cameras work, especially like you're like, yeah, make it more sensitive, and then you can like, whatever, balance out the dynamic range. But I was a little surprised at how different it was.
Yeah.
That it's shooting at like 100 ISO versus like 1000 ISO or 1250. I could keep the window at the same clip, and then changing the ISO, the window clip like didn't change. I was I adjusted the exposure on the aperture, but it was like I was able to get more stops of dynamic range at higher ISOs.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was
good
kind
reason
of
to use an ND filter, I guess.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or even like, it's like if you can control the exposure in another way, you can just get a little more dynamic range, and you're more of deciding, dynamic range versus noise in deciding the ISO rather than just like literally using it for exposure.
Yeah.
And it's more of a matter of like, you have to get into one of those buckets because it is raw. And so it's like you're in the left or you're in the right bucket. And in some situations, especially if you're shooting inside, you kind of just want to shoot at 1250.
Yeah.
Because that's going to give you more dynamic range and lower noise than shooting at like 800 or 1000.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
But even still, like overall, the noise was not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that's something I was worried about with the camera, because I feel like I've always heard people say that Blackmagic cameras aren't great with noise. Like, it's nothing like an A7S III, like, oh, it's so good at low light. But honestly, I mean, we've shot a lot with, with our mirrorless cameras in low light. And I mean, we shot in kind of similar conditions with this, and I didn't think it was any worse. Like, if anything, I kind of like the noise like a little bit better maybe than some of what we get from other cameras.
I was expecting to just have to do noise reduction. It's raw. We're just going to have to do noise reduction and sharpening and whatever.
And you barely did it.
And yeah, it was the cases that I did do it, I was like, I kind of liked it without it because it just had a little more texture to it. And I would say that I've gotten, shooting in like F-Log2 at 1250 on my Fuji, I've gotten noisier image out of that codec than I got out of shooting like ISO 1250 on this camera.
Yeah, which is good to know.
Just really surprised at how little I felt like I had to do noise reduction. And that was something I was concerned with for raw workflows. That it was like, if I'm going to have to do NR and convert this thing to H.265 and like deal with proxies, it's just going to be a whole deal. Yeah. And it turned out none of that was a problem. Yeah. DaVinci Resolve handles B-roll like just an absolute champ.
Yeah.
And regenerates proxies super, super fast. And it was like, it's just like not an issue.
Well, and we had a really interesting workflow for the event shoot we did that I think kind of plays into this well, because I mean, these files are huge, right? And so we have that, and we also had this situation where you've moved to a place where right now you don't have very fast internet. You used to have like gig fiber, now you don't. I still have fast connection on my side. And so we would go shoot this event, like let's say like I had the camera. It would be really painful if I had to transfer those B-raw files to you. Like that would take a really long time. And so what we were doing is, basically like I would bring in the B-raw, let my computer generate proxies. They would sync in the Blackmagic cloud, and then you could download the proxies like really quickly and start editing. I feel like that worked out really well for this shoot.
It's perfect. Like no problems. It's just good. And I could definitely see a workflow where we do that, and then we just foot whatever the shoot sneaker net, the
Yeah,
the footage.
eventually, we meet up at some point to get the big files, or maybe you like download it overnight or something.
Yeah, something
But
simple.
but I mean that really I felt like made the raw workflow a lot easier in the sense that I was concerned we were going to shoot with this camera and we'd have all these files that we couldn't really do anything with until we spent like who knows how long it's going to take to like develop it, and like get the color right. And there's going to be like huge files and it's going to slow down the software a lot. And like that's what I was worried about. And it seemed like none of that was a problem because it generated the proxies super quickly. You could edit really well with just the proxies. And then, eventually you want the full files to do like your final color and obviously do your final export. But it was just all really easy to work with.
I thought that the footage looked really good. I was having a little bit of trouble figuring out the process for dealing with the raws in the color workflow. And that's maybe a conversation for another time. I think I just need to work with it a little bit.
Maybe like read the documentation on how they expect you to do that.
Because like whenever you shoot it, you can say like, just give me like whatever you shot and like take the footage at off per clip, just translate it or whatever. Or you can develop it yourself, or you can set, if you're only using B-raw, you can set it to just do the translation on top of the project level, et cetera, et cetera. But what I found was that, if I match the clip to the settings, using the like B-raw film, Blackmagic, blah, 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 LUT, to then convert it from whatever I was importing it to that Rec 709 image, the LUT just had a better look to it than what I was able to get out of doing a color space transform.
Interesting.
Using the same settings. And I was a little confused as to why I was having so much difficulty getting the same look out of it using like a traditional workflow.
Yeah.
Because I personally don't like using LUTs. I like to get everything into a common workspace and then do all my edits and then have like a final output. And like, sure, that final output can be a LUT, but because we do so much stuff with varying camera types, I want to like get everything into DaVinci Resolve Intermediate, do all my stuff, and then on the end of it, maybe I do a LUT to get it out to Rec 709. Maybe I do my own grade to get it out to Rec 709, but I was having a little bit of issue getting the non-LUT workflow to look as good as the LUT workflow. And I think that's just more of me having to learn how to work with the footage. But it's just like, it's so flexible that I know that I'm eventually going to be able to get it there. So,
Yeah. You mentioned part of that was the film, extended video things in the camera. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. You kind of get a pick your dynamic range in camera for what it's going to look like. And I think that it matters so much in that if you are trying to work fast with Resolve, if you shoot in like video or extended video and like that's the look that you want, or even film, like maybe film is like the look that you want, you can kind of pick one of those and then just let it just run through and slap a LUT on there and just like have that look default out of camera so that you're not even having to deal with the raws, which is really nice.
That's interesting.
But we shot mostly in film because it was like the most compressed, like flattest looking profile. But it kind of doesn't really matter because you're shooting in RAW and you kind of can just pick all that stuff in post and have it conform to whatever you want. But it is nice for them to have kind of these preset looks in camera so that you can see it, expose it, and know what the final image can look like if you're not going to do any sort of heavy grading.
It did matter a little bit because for one thing, it affects the proxies, right? I think it makes the proxies probably show up that color. One thing we tried was use, like we thought maybe we can shoot with proxies and use the proxies as our, like for our quick delivery thing. Like what if we just didn't have to mess with the RAWs at all? It doesn't seem like that's a good option because the proxies from the camera are 1080p. It doesn't seem like there's any ability in the camera to set the quality of the proxies. And it's just not a good feeling to deliver a 1080p thing when you're shooting a camera like this. But the other thing we tried was connecting the Ninja with the Atomos Connect, which is a like an add-on for the Ninja that has an SDI port, and using that to record H.265 from the SDI out on the PYXIS. And so we had the Ninja set to. There were some weird caveats with this. I think we could only do 4K 30. We couldn't quite do 4K 60, which I think is a limitation of the Ninja. I think if we had a Ninja Ultra, we'd be able to do that. So we did 4K 30, and we shot an H.265, and I'm pretty sure we did ProRes Did we do no? Because I mean, it was H.265, but
Yeah.
like there's like different quality levels. Like there's like extreme quality and high quality. I think we might have done high quality, but it was like 422 10-bit. And when you do that, the files you're getting are a compressed codec, and they do
It's like a quarter the size.
maybe probably a quarter the size, and that does have like if you pick film or extended video or whatever, that does like bake the look in.
Yeah.
Obviously,
It was still flexible enough that it wasn't necessarily a problem. You just apply some contrast.
I mean, yeah, because we wanted to try that to see can we get away with a smaller file. They still looked really good.
They still looked really good. And it's like if you expose it, you can little contrast, and or you just shoot an extended video, and you're good to go.
It's an option I would keep in mind if we were going to be shooting and giving the footage to somebody else to edit.
Yes.
Somebody who's not familiar with the raw workflow.
If that was the thing, like we're gonna go shoot this thing, we're just dumping footage when we're done. That's it. I would do the Ninja workflow like we did, and I would have no reservations about it. It would be. I know that it would look good. So
yeah, and it wasn't that annoying to shoot with. We were able to get a record trigger to work where basically when we recorded on the camera, it would start the Ninja recording as well. So like it was all pretty easy to do.
Yep. I was happy with all the different aspect ratios because you can shoot in like open gate, you can shoot in whatever 2.4 to 1 or a bunch of different aspect ratios. I think most of the stuff that I chose to shoot was like DCI resolution, so and like true 4K or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just you get so many options. Frame rates, resolutions, aspect ratio, like it's like anything you want to shoot with it, you can pick exactly like what you want from that sensor.
Yep. So, did some tripod stuff, did some event shooting. I mean, what's your takeaway, Daniel? What's your overall thought of we didn't even talk about rolling shutter as I'm like staring at these notes trying to reach a conclusion here. Rolling shutter was like it's just literally not a problem at all.
Yeah.
It's like
I think that's one thing that's hugely improved over the PYXIS 6K. Because I always heard the 6K had really bad rolling shutter. This camera did not.
It's half as good as the Ursa, but I don't know if it's just that we didn't do enough like moving the camera around stuff, but
could be, but
just wasn't a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, what do you think? Like, we shot this thing for whatever 2-3 weeks, something like that. Had a lot of good hands-on time.
Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of thoughts. One thought is there are definitely some more complicated things about just throw the iPad down.
I don't need it.
There are definitely some more complicated things about shooting with a cinema camera versus shooting with a mirrorless camera. And it does not quite feel like you can just pick it up and record a clip in 30 seconds. Like you've got to mess with the menus more. It's going to be like a heavier camera. The rigging requires like more forethought. I do feel like there's some things where it's like more of a commitment to pull it out and shoot with it. But at the same time, there were a lot of things we did that I was surprised at how easy it was to use. Like the event shooting was something where I think we kind of tried it for the event shooting, not expecting it to work and just kind of thinking, we've got the camera, we might as well try it, but this is probably going to be like really annoying to work with. And I'm going to use this one time, but then I'm going to set it, 15 minutes later, I'm going to set it down. I'm going to pull out my mirrorless camera and like get the actual clips we're going to use to make this video. And it didn't turn out that way at all. Like I used it multiple nights of that event. Had a lot of fun doing it. When we made the final video, a lot of the clips we used were from the PYXIS because they looked so good. And I thought it was fun shooting it at the event. So I think maybe for me, that was the biggest surprise is that in a run and gun environment, it was really fun to use. Like, even though we didn't have like all the rigging stuff we might, eventually want, like I would say we were using like a non-optimal setup and it was still really fun.
I agree that pulling out the PYXIS and using it is a production. It's just it's a whole to do if you're going to use that camera. But boy, does it make it worth it whenever you get the footage off of it at the end. I've watched some stuff where, like, I watched this. It was like an interview where someone was talking about the Ursa, and they're like, "Oh, the skin tones, they're just so good." And it was just like gushing and gushing, gushing over the image off of the Ursa 12K, and I'm like, "Calm down, dude. Like, you can make anything look like anything these days, and like, a camera's a camera, and blah blah blah." But like, it just, I was really, really impressed with the quality and the look of the footage and the flexibility of the footage off of this camera. It is like clearly a step up over the stuff we're using, which maybe is obvious in retrospect because this is like, it's not a super expensive cinema camera, but it's still like a $5,000 camera.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it's easily twice the price of a normal mirrorless.
yeah, and it's the sensor technology of a camera that's twice that price, right? I mean, they're taking a sensor that's in the Ursa and bringing it down into this $5,000 price point, $6,000 price point, and it just really shows. I was super impressed with the image quality, and all my concerns around file size were alleviated. I thought that it cool is nice to be able to shoot in RAW, have Blackmagic RAW, but I'm not going to want to deal with that all the time.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't a problem.
I know that's something we've always complained about with the PYXIS is, why don't they support compressed codecs? And I still think it would be nice to have the option, but it's way less of a sticking point for me than it used to be.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much I was able to overlook that and deal with the storage size that we have. And I think there are workflows for it. It would require quite a commitment to storage space, which I think is something that we have to strongly consider in designing what we're going to do. But overall, I was really impressed. I thought that maybe we would get the camera and work through it, and I would be like, okay, like this is really good, but like maybe this isn't quite a fit for some of the stuff we're doing. And, this is maybe not as much better over the Lumix cameras that it justifies the cost.
Yeah.
And after shooting with it for a few weeks and messing with the footage and all this stuff, I'm like, actually, you know what, maybe it is that much better than a Lumix camera.
Yeah. And I think for me it's just that it does feel like a very flexible camera that you can use for all types of shoots. It would be great for something like an interview or like a staged film set type situation, but you can also use it as an event camera.
Yeah.
Like you can do run and gun with it.
I do think though, to your point, this is like just also super not the right camera for a lot of people. And a lot of like production solutions where you need the things that mirrorless cameras serve, like anything that the R6V is perfectly attuned for,
like vlogging.
Yeah, sure. Or like maybe podcast setup isn't like the perfect thing, but you just need like a social camera, vertical camera, whatever.
Yeah.
Or you need to be able to run out and like grab a few shots real quick. Or you need something that isn't, enormous and like heavy. You get kind of a smaller, more compact solution, something on a gimbal. Anything that I would think you would use like a ZR for, an Nikon ZR.
Yeah.
It's, if you're thinking of those kind of things, like, oh man, an FX3 would be perfect for this. I think those are all different trade-offs and decisions that make those cameras. It's like if that's the thing that meets your need, I don't think the PYXIS then meets that need.
Yeah.
I think it is a different thing. But if it's like, I want to shoot a movie or a commercial or do a production, or like even like the interview stuff that we do, that's something that's more planned and produced in that environment, the PYXIS just walks all over these other cameras because it like you get the time codes and all the monitor support features and the channels, and you get like real like professional style like interface and usability and features that you don't, that feel a little shoehorned into a lot of mirrorless cameras. And so
I mean, we tried shooting some on the Lumix S1 II in ProRes RAW internal on the camera to compare, and the footage from that looked good. But it makes me concerned about having a PYXIS and that camera and trying to shoot an interview, because I'm like, the PYXIS is just going to look better.
It's just going to look better. And like we can kind of mostly match them, but we'd have to make the PYXIS look worse. Just kidding.
Yeah.
It's no matter what I can do. I do. I just, that Lumix footage is just so magenta.
But you're right that the PYXIS isn't the perfect camera for everything. I feel like even owning one, there would still be situations where I would pick up the Lumix to film something.
Absolutely. There'd be a lot of instances of certain things that we do and certain jobs that we take that the PYXIS is just the wrong camera for. But the types of stuff that we are aspiring to get into, the PYXIS is super the right camera for.
Yeah. And there's so many features we didn't even use. Things like being able to record into the camera with like really good mics. Like we could get an adapter and use one of our shotgun mics into that camera with phantom power. Most cameras can't do that without an adapter. We didn't mess with time code at all.
A different adapter. You said adapter twice. What do you mean, like just getting down to micro like mini XLR.
Well, that's what we would need for the PYXIS.
Right, compared to having like a top handle with XLRs on it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it just more natively supports that.
Correct.
We didn't use timecode at all. We know how timecode works. We just didn't use it on this camera during our testing. Like stuff like that. Like it's just very well suited for those types of things, more so than a mirrorless camera would be.
I mean, so Daniel's like, I'm not going to hold you to it, but like, what are we going to do?
I mean, I felt like going into this, we were definitely interested in buying one. I mean, to the extent that we were talking about like renting one to play with it, like, we were like willing to put money down to like see if we wanted it, So like, I think we were kind of like at that point. But I kind of had some of the same skepticism as you of, are we going to try this? And okay, it's better, but it's like really not that much better, it's good, but not justifiably better. But I mean, after shooting with it, I just felt like the footage looked so good. And to me, it's like life is too short. Like the things that I film, I want to look as good as they can look. And I think they've hit a really good price point here where, this isn't going to be a camera for everybody. This is not a camera I would have bought when I first got into doing video, but it's way more attainable than like a lot of other cinema cameras you can consider. And like, I think after using it, I'm pretty on board with the price of it. I think it's a fair price for what you get. And I mean, I would love to shoot more on it. So like, I feel like I'm like, after having had this experience, I'm in favor of getting one because it's mostly about how it looks and the fact that you can use it for event stuff. Like I was really surprised at that outcome.
Yeah, I think I'm on team Daniel and Lucas need to buy a PYXIS. I'm just maybe not buy it ASAP. I think that there's a few projects that we have kind of potentially in the queue that are ruminating.
Mm-hmm.
And once some of those solidify a little more, I think then it's like, okay, now let's pull the plug, press a switch or whatever, and make the PYXIS, applicate into our hands.
Wow, that was quite a phrase you just used. I think the storage stuff is going to be a concern as long as there's this, the storage prices are so high right now. But luckily for you and me, we do have a couple of good options there. We have some CF Express cards, we have some decent sized SSDs, and I mean, just like everybody else, we're watching the storage prices to see when those things are going to come down. But
apparate, that's the word I'm looking for, right? That's the word I was reaching for.
That is a word.
But yes, I think that storage prices and like looking for like maybe a deal or something on it. But I mean, like after shooting with this thing and considering other projects that we might do, I'm like, we just got to. I mean, we already bought the primes.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are we gonna do? We're just gonna not buy a PYXIS?
Well, I love that they make it an L mount though, because we have the L to PL adapter, but we also have Lumix lenses. And for doing event stuff, it is really nice just being able to throw a 24-70 on there, and have something that's single lens. You're not having to swap out. You get so much flexibility with L mount.
So in deciding that, and my thought is like sometime this summer, but if we make the move and get a PYXIS this summer, you know what that means?
What does that mean?
It means I'm gonna have to figure out the rest of my camera life.
Yeah, I mean, I do too, honestly, because I mean, I have the S1R Mark II and the S1 Mark II. Do I really need both of those if we have a cinema camera? It's tricky to figure out.
Daniel, did you just
have an XH2S?
Did you just crack open the door to me buying an S1R Mark II from you?
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of options out there. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, jeez.
So that is an interesting question, though. Do you feel like if we got a PYXIS, would that motivate you to move into L mount?
It would motivate me to change my camera life because I thought that, okay, if we got a PYXIS, then eventually we get two PYXIS.
And then someday we get three PYXIS.
No, we only need two, Daniel. We can do a lot with two.
Yeah.
Eventually we need two. And then you would probably hold on to one. And I would probably hold on to one. And then I'm like, why do I need a PYXIS and an XH2S?
Good point.
But after doing this, I'm like, actually, I need a hybrid mirrorless camera and the PYXIS.
Yeah.
Like you can't just you have to have the hybrid for something.
Yeah.
And the X-T5 is not a good enough video hybrid camera for that to be my only camera.
Yeah.
But I don't want a PYXIS and an XH2S and an X-T5.
Yeah. So it would make you start thinking about options like what if you had something like an S1R Mark II as the hybrid, but then maybe you also have like an X106, a GFX 100 RF, something that's like a fun photo camera.
And this is like the whole conversation we're going to have later.
Yeah.
But that's exactly it. It's like, maybe I have my professional camera that's for photo and video.
Yeah.
But call it 40% video, 60% photo.
Yeah.
And then for real video, I shoot with PYXIS. And then I sell all my awesome Fuji stuff and get lens lineups for that I can then share between the PYXIS and the hybrid camera.
True.
And then for my personal camera, have something else, whether that be keep the X-T5 and have less lenses. And then if I really want to shoot long, bring the pro camera with me, or go all like GFX 100 RF. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One thing that's really fun about this concept is that you can get away with a much simpler rig for your hybrid video camera because the PYXIS would kind of fill that role of what you would normally use a rigged out camera for.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know I've enjoyed that, like having a good hybrid camera that can do photo and video that isn't in a cage, like is like a very lightweight setup.
Yeah, you're using it in just like its true naked form.
And that gives you got some good podcast titles today. That's kind of the advantage of this. Like the PYXIS is so specialized toward video, and it's so much better at video than anything else we've used, that it kind of lets you kind of like sequester video on that, and then you can make your other camera something that's like more of a all around.
Right, and that other camera that is the like hybrid camera doesn't have to be like the ultimate video camera like the X-H2S.
Exactly. So.
It can be like slightly less good at video, like I don't know, like a S1 Mark II or something.
I can't imagine anybody doing video and only owning the PYXIS. I think that's kind of the interesting part of this.
Depending on what you're doing, right? But it does seem that way. Like if I was doing like even just we're gonna do some location shouting, hey, location. What? Anyways, like location scouting would not want to bring the PYXIS to do location scouting. Would bring mirrorless camera with zoom lens to test the focal lengths and like check the framing.
Or bring your mirrorless camera with your cinema primes.
Sure.
You can check check like what would the 135 look like here.
Yeah.
But you're not having to bring this big heavy thing around. So.
Right. Exactly. It's like there's just different things that you would use it for.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm convinced that I'd have to go to L mount. Like
maybe not.
I would want to shoot PL for a lot of the PYXIS stuff. I think it would be nice to have a zoom in L mount.
Yeah.
But I could potentially
just buy an L mount zoom.
Convince myself that I have the Panasonic or the Sigma L mount 24-70.
Yeah.
And then we have the cinema primes, and like I don't think I need to buy an L mount camera necessarily.
So you're saying you could become a Sony bro.
I'm just saying there's a world of possibilities.
We've got podcast content for the rest of the year, kids. That's it for the show today. Thanks for joining us, and if you liked it, tell a friend so they can check it out too. You can find out more about the show at www.cameragearpodcast.com, and you can find us on Twitter @CameraGearPod. We'll be back with more next week.